hope you and your family are keeping well. Just start off by asking, how have you found your first month as Chief Executive Officer of Somerset?
Hi Ben. Hey, look, I thought that I'd be sitting here having experienced my first home championship win at the Cooper Associates County Ground, and my first 90 days in office plan would have started, and I'd have met as many people as I possibly could who have had a role to play in the club, whether they be office bearers, staff, or members of the club who love the club and have been associated with it for a long while. But I'm afraid I don't even know where that first 90-day plan is now. It had to, for obvious reasons, had to go out the window at a fairly early stage, almost like day 3 or 4 in post. The COVID-19 activity became really real. So we're now working actively on a crisis management plan, as are many businesses across the UK. There'll be very few that aren't, but we are making some good progress with that. And despite all, I've really enjoyed it.
So what in particular of the challenges been over this period?
Well, I think that they're fall into two: both duty of care to our employees and our members and people that come into the ground on a daily basis, and then there's financial, and the financial realities of the situation have needed to be managed. And I guess the big challenge for me was to tell 67 out of 76 members of staff that their services aren't needed at this moment in time, which is probably the most difficult thing that I've had to do, because the club is all about its people. And we've got a number of people who've got a great experience with the club, and to actually tell them that, look, you're not required right now, I found a very difficult thing to do. And that was one of the biggest challenges, as well as the financial challenges that I'm sure that we will come on to.
Yeah, so just looking at the financial side of things, what damage do you think has been done by COVID-19?
Well, it's difficult to be precise about the damage that's been done, and the reason I say that, Ben, is that until we know how much of the season that we get, until we know that, the financial damage is very difficult to project. But all we do know is that, as with any business in the country at the moment, the impact will be significant. It isn't just going to be a case of losing a few quid and getting back to normal. It's going to be a significant impact. And whilst we're continuing to take action that mitigates the damage that's being done, and through cost controls and making sure that we get our costs down to an absolute minimum by furloughing 67 out of 76 people so that we capitalise on the funding that's available from government. Whilst we're doing that activity and many other things, we're going to need support from our friends around Somerset Cricket and from the Somerset Cricket community as a whole to help us get this ship through the pretty stormy waters that we're going through. So the precise impact won't be known for some time, but that doesn't mean we're not taking any action, because we most certainly are doing that.
And a popular question that we've been hearing over the last few weeks. Have you got any further indications as to when we might see some cricket in the Cooper Associates County Ground?
There's the $1 million question that you're asking there. I mean, I'm in regular contact with ECB and my first-class county chief exec colleagues. I mean, when I say regular, minimum once, normally twice a week, where we're having video conference calls like this. It's quite a complex situation, because there is no precise date that the government have said that mass gatherings, as they call them, can take effect from. So the law was changed a few weeks ago that meant that rather than the government needing to stop an event happening, you have to actually get the government's approval for an event to happen now, which is the other way around. So their policy on mass gatherings is critical. Without that, then it's going to be very tough. But we anticipate that will be lifted that the lockdown that we've got at the moment will be lifted at some point, and that mass gatherings will be allowed to get together again, or take place again. So the scheduling work that's being done by two highly able people at the ECB, John Carr, who a number of people will remember from his days with Middlesex back in the 80s in particular, and Alan Fordham, who they'll remember from his days at Northants. And they're working tirelessly to put together, firstly, an international schedule, because without the international schedule, you can't have a county schedule. And the reason for that is ground availability. So if there's a test match, for instance, at Trent Bridge, you clearly can't play a county game there for 10 to 12 days. So they need to do that before they provide the schedule. So they're doing a lot of work on the international schedule to reconfigure that and to confirm that with visiting countries. Coming to this country this year, Pakistan, West Indies, Ireland and Australia. So 4 countries to get to fall into line, if you like. And my understanding is that those discussions are very, very constructive. And concurrently with that, they are doing some work on a plan for domestic cricket, which will see the shape of the season changed, and we don't quite know what to yet, but in a way that will allow cricket to be played whenever the country is ready for it to be played, and that is active work. And included within all that, they're looking at the feasibility of behind closed doors matches, which is a sort of backup plan if we can't have mass gatherings at some point this summer. And I'm expecting to hear precisely what all that means over the coming weeks, and obviously as soon as we know that, we will communicate with our membership first and our broader community shortly thereafter.
So how do you think the lack of cricket is affecting people?
I think it's probably affecting people more than we think, because cricket isn't just like going to a concert or a football match or something that is just about entertainment. Cricket, for all the reasons that our members will understand in particular, it's a social get-together as much as it is about the sport. And a lot of friendships have been built on attending cricket and coming to the Cooper Associates County Ground over the years. And I'm sure it's affecting people in a big way, because it's part of their life. It is part of their annual calendar, and to go without it, I'm sure, is hurting a number of people. It's certainly hurting the staff and people involved at the club, and I have no doubt, particularly from some of the emails I've received from members, that it is hurting them, and we will be doing everything that we can with the 9 people that we have employed at the moment, because I said earlier that 67 of 76 of our staff have been furloughed for the current time. We've got 9 people running the club, and we are doing everything that we can to ensure that when the season does begin again, that we're fit for purpose, and that we'll hit the ground running and provide people with that sense of belonging, which I'm sure is being missed.
Absolutely. And just moving on to members, when do you think that the club will be sending out the membership packs?
So, and that has been something we've wrestled with for a couple of weeks now, because we wanted to make sure that the communication that went with those packs was up to date. And what we've learned is every day that the information changes. This is such a fast moving environment, but we have finalised the packs, and they'll be distributed in phases over the next week to 10 days. So people can expect to have their packs at latest by the week after next. And that's something we thought was important to do. I can almost guarantee that some of the information will be out of date by the time they're received, because of the fast moving environment that we're working in. Will there be more clarity on the new season by that time? Well, perhaps, but perhaps not. There's so many uncertainties, so I can only apologise to recipients and to our members of that receive that information. But we're just doing the best we possibly can to keep them informed just as soon as we have information.
So ending on a slightly lighter note, what have you enjoyed so far about your time here at Somerset?
Well, I as I said earlier, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I think it's it feels, even from the distance that we're working from at the minute, it feels to me like a really good club, and with a very rich history and great traditions, which I love. The membership and the feedback I've had from membership has been terrific. In that, number have taken the time to write, wishing us well, hoping it's okay, thanking us for what we're doing, which is incredible. That has been terrific. I've also thoroughly enjoyed working with Gordon Baird, who is the new chair of the club that most members won't have met yet because of the circumstances that we're in. Gordon has brought with him some really rich business experience, which I'm already learning from, and we're talking regularly, at least once a day, on various issues. But I think the membership can be reassured that Gordon's business experience and his feel for cricket, which is always very important in these roles, that will serve the club well for some time to come. And I'm really enjoying working with him. And also Malcolm Derry, who has handed over to me the responsibilities of chief executive, and Malcolm has been taken on as our financial director, and his help is invaluable in this particular situation. And of course, his knowledge and experience of the club is invaluable to me. So I've been enjoyed working with those guys and many other people, Andy Hurry and Sarah Trunks and yourself and various other executives who are doing a pile of work on behalf of the club. So it's the people bit that I've enjoyed, and I'm sure that when I get to meet members, and I haven't had that, I think I had in the schedule that I would have had two seminars with members on match days by now, and clearly that hasn't been possible. But I'm really looking forward to interacting with them and understanding more about the club. I think I've got a bit of base of a grasp, but I think you learn more when you speak and listen to people who have been around for a while and actually really understand the DNA of the club and what matters. And that's the bit that I'm really looking forward to.
Gordon, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, and we'll look forward to catching up soon.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks a lot.